Hi, I'm Ken Coleman, and welcome to Excuse Me While I Gush. About this coffee table book, not just cartoons, Nicktoons. And yes, this is legit Nickelodeon slime captured in this laminate book jacket. So I'm not just geeking out about this book because I'm a fan, because I'm an artist, because I'm a writer, or because I'm now working on this video content. The reason is that in 2 months, Nicktoons will be turning 25. That's a long time. So I'm reviewing this 2007 book. It's divided into many different sections, each dedicated to a different Nicktoons show. From 1991's Ren and Stimpy to 2008's The Mighty Bee. The Mighty Bee was in production when this book was published. Each of the different sections contains interviews with the creators, producers, animators, different people who had lots of input into the show. You get to learn about the pitch meetings, you get to learn stories of the animation studio, where the creators were coming from, their backgrounds, inspirations, and where they got their art style from. So I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite sections. One of them was on Doug. I was reading about how Jim Jenkins had started out as an animator in an advertisement firm. He worked on a book that would be telling some of his old childhood stories and starring a character called Doug. It didn't get picked up by publishers, but it was the perfect premise for Nickelodeon's new Nicktoons program. It was one of the original 3 shows. Another one of the original 3 was Rugrats. It was from an animation studio called Klasky-Csupo. And Gabor Chupo, Arlene Klasky, and Paul Germain were imagining what it was like, what babies think. What if they went on adventures, and what they did once our backs are turned. Arlene Klasky came from the CalArts animation department, well-renowned, and I'm sure to do many other Excuse Me While I Gush webisodes about the different people who have come out of there. Tim Burton, Glenn Keane, etc. Gabor Chupo, her husband at the time, had come over from Budapest. And he brought over this Eastern European visual style that stands out from most of the more polished American animation. And we've become quite the fan base for that style. For what Rugrats represented, what Real Monsters represented, Rocket Power, Wild Thornberrys. It's become an iconic style. When listening to Klasky and Csupo talk about their different shows, we hear them telling stories about their kids riding bikes and rollerblading, and how that lifestyle became Rocket Power. We learn about them developing the Wild Thornberrys story, and how some of the artists didn't like Chupo's original design for Eliza. He didn't want the lead character to look that pretty, giving her the big teeth, the braces, the glasses. And despite them wanting to beautify her further, they only got a small amount. And we loved her for it. We loved Eliza. Real Monsters was something else, and as grade school students in the 90s, me and many of my peers could relate to the monsters going to the scare school. It was Monsters, Inc. before there was Monsters, Inc. And their studio would later help bring Emily Kapnick's As Told by Ginger to the public. As Told by Ginger stands out to me because it was able to tackle subject matter that you don't often see in children's programming or much less cartoons. It got into death, it got into depression, bullying. It was a coming-of-age story when few people were doing shows about that. It wasn't until Brian Konietzko and Mike DiMartino came up with Avatar: The Last Airbender that we got a Nicktoon that just dove into far deeper subjects. No offense to Kapnick, but hearing stories of Yue's stillbirth, where do you see that in the cartoon other than in Avatar? Deep theological discussions, like in the swamp, where a person compares the roots of the tree to all the different nations of the world. Avatar: The Last Airbender has this big, huge cult following, not tarnished by the movie by any degree. And it was just one of the many great Nicktoons that came out of the studio. The Mighty Bee is what this book closes with, and it stars Amy Poehler. I had great hopes for it. It was very, I guess effervescent would be a term for the character. She was very hyper and positive. Her mother was not your standard cartoon mom. She was very hip and cool and atypical for a animated woman. Great design for her, and it was extremely progressive to do. She was a very overzealous little Girl Scout. Not an official Girl Scout, but whatever they called those troops. Honeybees, I think. So Nicktoons continues to go on forward. New shows. SpongeBob is still around. Same thing with Fairly Odd Parents. Fairly Odd Parents being Butch Hartman's creation, one of his creations. He had come over from Cartoon Network and used to be part of the crew for Johnny Bravo. So I'm looking forward to what the future of Nicktoons has to bring. I've heard that Klasky-Csupo is working on some top secret productions. That's according to their Wikipedia page. I know that the company has had somewhat of a lull in the past 10 or so years. And so that really excited me, knowing that they're still so active in production. So thank you, and leave in the comments section your great memories of Nicktoons. What are you hoping for the future? What do you miss about the old shows? I know that many people are saying that the cartoon shows of today aren't as good as what we grew up with in the 90s. So please, let's discuss. Thank you.